Anyway, without further ado, Sheriff Chuck Jenkins. Thank you, Sheriff.
Good morning. That's why I let him
Thank
go
you very
first.
much. Thank you so much for your service.
Good morning. I'm Frederick County Sheriff Chuck Jenkins. Sheriff, just 50 miles from this spot, and we are not a sanctuary county. First of all, I want to extend my sincere condolences to all the Angel families for your losses. I hope all of America is listening today. It's an honor for me to be here and speak on your behalf and to say just a few words about what I think is the impact of illegal immigration on America, every community, every county, simply because of the failures right here. And we have a term for that in the legal world. It's called deliberate indifference. Deliberate indifference, remember that. So my point here today is the need to maintain law and order in a nation that's built on the rule of law. You know, I know it's a very personal occasion for you families, but this needs to be brought into the public eye as often as we can so we don't forget, because you all never forget. Most of you families probably never had the chance to say goodbye to your sons, your daughters, your siblings, your parents, whatever the case may be. And I think I speak here today for all the sheriffs who came to Washington over the past couple days to meet with lawmakers and the presidents to discuss some of these problems. All of America has been done a great injustice by not enforcing our immigration laws, allowing our wide open borders, and being forced as a nation to tolerate lawlessness of illegal immigration. This issue is really threatening the fundamental stability of our laws in a civil society. All these offenders who are criminals, who are in our country illegally, no matter where they're from, their ages, their reason for being here, they have broken into our house. They've invaded our sovereign nation, and we can't allow the invasion to continue. You've heard some stories today. You're going to hear more family members who were killed in shootings, intentional and otherwise, brutal beatings, horrific crashes, gang-related crimes of violence, both in our border states and in the interior of the country. All of this is a part of the consequence and impact of illegal crime in America. Not one single death should ever have occurred, not one. There's no reason for these acts to have occurred because the criminal alien offenders should have never been in this country. And I'm not going to say much about it, but the most recent event, the story, the needless death of 20-year-old Molly Tibbetts, beautiful young woman from Iowa State, and it hits home with me because I've got a 20-year-old daughter in college. I won't say where, but so that rings close to me. You know, in some of the Angel family tragedies, the alien involved in the act causing the death have been encountered on entry by the Border Patrol or local law enforcement prior to the event and should never have been on the street after that encounter. In many cases, criminal aliens were intentionally released from custody from our jails to commit acts that killed those Americans. You know, this is the sickening result of sanctuary policies. They're in place in many jurisdictions because what the politicians are saying is very simply this. We are saying we are not enforcing the law because the people that are in the country illegally are more important than our own citizens. For some reason, those elected officials supporting sanctuary policies are more concerned about the growing populations of illegal aliens for their vote than the safety and welfare of Americans. There's really no other plausible reason or excuse for that. Sanctuary policies have to end, and President Trump, with the help of Congress, several members here today, the Department of Justice, and pressure from you, the American people, can and will make this happen. After meeting at the White House roundtable just 2 days ago and President Trump's staff, I'm very confident we can make real progress on border security and interior enforcement. In addition to the families who have lost members, there's thousands of families every year in this country who are assaulted, raped, maimed, injured, involved in vehicle crashes, and otherwise victims of crimes, again, committed by people who don't belong in this country. More consequences of the tragic realities of illegal immigration in America. MS-13, other transnational criminal gangs have infiltrated our communities to commit violent crimes, both in the public sector, but the immigrant community, and to other Americans. Neighboring Maryland counties, just minutes from this spot, are ground zero for a rapidly increasing MS-13 gangs and gang crime. This, again, the direct result of open borders, DACA, and simply not enforcing the law. Think about the 50,000 plus heroin opioid related deaths in the United States last year. We can cite one of the causes, main causes, for a large percentage of these deaths as being the open borders and people crossing our borders transporting illegal drugs. Open borders have allowed the cartels to push through massive quantities of illegal drugs, criminal gang members, and humans being trafficked by criminals placed into servitude in our country in both prostitution and other legal enterprises. Folks, we are the only nation in the civilized world that does not enforce our own borders. The cartels are spreading death and violence undeterred by the law. Every single county, every single community in this nation is impacted by open borders and in essence becoming a border county. 10 years ago, I came down to Washington, I think as a matter of fact, Congressman King's committee, and testified that the cost of doing nothing about illegal immigration would be enormous. Well, here we are today. We see that cost measured in human, emotional pain and suffering and human loss to American families. Local and state law enforcement deal every day with crimes committed by illegal aliens who have no right being in the United States. In the majority of the cases, hands of law enforcement are tied because of politics and the blatant refusal of local, city, county, and state governments to work with or cooperate whatsoever with ICE. I can make an argument every single day to you that working with ICE is no different than cooperating with the FBI, the ATF, U.S. Marshals, or any other federal law enforcement agency. At some point, and I say that point is right now, that we start to show real concern about the rights of Americans to be safe in your homes, your communities, and on our streets. Your rights absolutely, absolutely trump the rights of persons coming into this country illegally. It seems that Americans who are victims of illegal crime don't have rights, recourse, or due process. That's the real injustice here. Where is the equity for Americans? In Frederick County, Maryland, we have a great place to live with one of the lowest serious crime rates in the entire region. In neighboring counties just south of Frederick, we have transnational criminal gang crime is on the increase in large numbers. We don't have the sad misfortune of being home to an aging family. Is that fortune, is it fate, or in part due to the fact that we enforce our law in Frederick County and work closely with ICE and Homeland Security to protect our community? Our partnership very simply does not allow illegal aliens who commit crimes to be released back onto our streets to commit more and more serious crimes. I got a solution here of six very simple steps, all in accordance with existing law. We don't need reform, we don't need new laws. Everything I'm going to say here is in accordance with current law and the Constitution. Effectively secure and completely close our borders. We have the right to do that. That man in the White House can protect us. Allow Customs and Border Patrol to aggressively enforce the law at our border and expedite removals. Allow ICE, with the help of state and local law enforcement, to enforce our immigration laws in the interior of the country. Increase the number of federal immigration judges to reduce the wait time for immigration removal hearings and to reduce the backlog of cases, and we can expedite removals of criminal aliens. End DACA. Because folks, I can tell you there's a direct nexus to DACA and the increase in criminal gang crime in the United States. It's an umbrella of unlawful protection. I think at some point in the near future, we're going to look back at this point in time over the past few years, maybe the decade, and say our failure to protect you, the Americans, is going to have been one of the great American tragedies in this country. I believe that right now under this president, with his congressional leaders, many are here today, several are here, is our best chance to repoint that needle and accomplish change in border security, immigration policy, and enforcement that's in the best interest of you, the American people. I want to urge, ask, and really make an appeal to every sheriff in this country to stand with me in this mission to enforce the rule of law and protect Americans from becoming victims of illegal crime in America. This really is all about public safety and the securing of this country. So I mean, two more things and I'm done here. So I really get frustrated when I hear anyone say that, you know, these tragic deaths could have or would have happened anyway, or that anyone could have committed that crime, almost like it was a fate, almost like it was destiny or a predetermined, inevitable course of action, events beyond our control. That's not the case at all, folks. These families are victims. The violent acts occurred and American lives were lost because we have allowed an unlawful set of circumstances to exist in America, placing you at unnecessary risk. I think if we all move forward collectively with the support of the American public, which certainly is there, we all know it's there, we can avoid and deter more senseless deaths of Americans. The next time we meet, and I hope it's soon, with the Angel families, there will be no more names to add to the list. And this is exactly how we can honor you here today, is to move forward and change these laws. So God bless each and every one of you. It's been an honor to be a part of this. Thank you.
Sheriff Jenkins, thank you.